Hey, Dylan. I guess we're live. I'm surprised. Did not realize that. Sign in to chat. How am I not signed in? Oh, I gotta trick it. All right. What's so interesting? You mean what am I looking at? Nothing is interesting. I'm looking at, I have a monitor up here. You're at a brewery. What's up, man? Lucky you. Cheers. I wish I was at a brewery. I'm getting up early tomorrow to drive 2 hours to a brewery for a beer release to pick up a couple of 4-packs of some new beers. It was good, Kurt. Yeah. Yeah, no, there's a big monitor up here, which is where all the actual stuff is, like the chat and everything. So sorry, it's weird. I know I try not to look at it, but I kind of have to know what's going on. So how are you guys doing? Kurt's doing really well because he's at a brewery. How are you, Dylan? You good? All right. I'm gonna pull my notes up here. So, welcome. I'm gonna get going because if this is playing later, it's gonna be really weird that I'm just like sitting in a room by myself, like talking to people that no one can see. So, I'm gonna get it rolling. Let me shrink this down a little bit. Yes, sorry, I am looking up here because there is a monitor up here on top of my sound box. Can you hear me okay though? Does everything sound okay, Dylan? Yeah, Kurt, I'm gonna talk about that a little bit, just so you guys know what's going on. It seems really fancy, I know, but I promise you it's not. Hey, Enoch. What's up, man? Long time no see. Glad you're good, Dylan. All right, cool. So yeah, I'm just gonna kick this off. I'm gonna go through my normal spiel. All you guys that are here all the time already know this thing, so just bear with me. But for those of you that are new, that are watching this for the first time and have never seen, an All Things Overlanding live stream, my name is Fletch. I am your host. I'm the person that runs All Things Overlanding, I guess you could say. I haven't had a haircut in a long time, and it's kind of getting froey, so don't judge me. But I definitely need to do something here soon. It's getting really bad. So anyways, if you're new to the channel and you're just now kind of stopping by and checking things out, just so you know, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on all major podcast channels. There will be links in the description below. So definitely go down there and click and join the conversation wherever you would like to. In addition to that, to Kurt's question, so Kurt is a regular. And he's also lucky enough to be at a brewery, so I'm very jealous. But I did want to sort of mention, I hadn't really said anything to anybody about the whole sponsorship thing, right? So you're going to notice that I've got 3 awesome companies that I've got listed as featured sponsors now. And I just wanted to kind of explain that a little bit because you guys know me, right? Like I've said it, am I on TikTok? I actually am on TikTok. I have 2 followers and I've made 0 videos. So yes, I'm on it, but I haven't quite dived in yet. I have some funny ideas when I see some of those videos. Like I definitely have some funny overlanding related ideas, so I think that's coming. So if you want to go to TikTok, yes, it is not one of my major focuses yet, and I've made no videos, but if you search for All Things Overlanding on TikTok, I exist. I'm there. So anyways, on to the sponsors. So as you guys, most of you, especially you guys listening that are here quite a bit, know, I'm just kind of like average Joe, right? Like I never, even if I got $1 million tomorrow, I don't think I'd go out and buy like an Earth Roamer, $500,000 rig. Like that's just not my style, right? Like I like to buy things as cheap as possible because the way I look at it is then I can buy other stuff, right? I could buy a fancy car, I could buy something else. So I kind of always have liked being the underdog and kind of having like the rig that not everybody else has and not going super crazy and expensive on my gear. But I love doing this overlanding stuff, and I've built a lot of good relationships with people in the industry, if you will, like people like Last US Bag, which you guys have probably heard me mention a number of times, but way before we ever talked about them being a sponsor or anything. Same with More Expo. So that's the Midwest Off-Road Overlanding Expo. Awesome group of people. They put on the first one last year. It was a smashing success. This year it's going to be twice as big, so it's going to be a super exciting show this year. But Chris Holloway's the guy that runs that. Super awesome guy. Again, I think I interviewed him 2 or 3 months ago. He was part of that big group of adventure company owners talking about how COVID was kind of hitting their businesses. So just kind of got to talking to him. Really liked the guy. Really impressed with the More Expo. And so I approached him as well. And then last but not least, Cindy Pope of Northology Adventures. Super great gal. Fun to talk to. She was gracious enough to allow me to write some articles in the Northology Adventures digital magazine that she puts together. So just natural relationships, right? And I wanted to keep it really small. But my goal with it is basically to help find a channel to give those small guys some exposure, right? To like awesome people like you guys that are watching that are interested in the stuff that they offer, right? So it's kind of just like a marriage made in heaven. But the sort of the goal with it all, honestly, is to help them find people to marry with their stuff, and then help you guys find some cool stuff that maybe you haven't heard of before that aren't the huge CVT tents or anything like that, right? And obviously my goal with this is to make it, I've got a job right now, but I'm not lying if I said I wouldn't be mad in 6 months to a year if I could go on more trips and spend more time making videos for you guys and reviewing gear and doing cool stuff like that. So, I think eventually I would love for this to turn into sort of a business, and then like I just do overlanding stuff and like go to meetups and like drive around the country and meet you guys and do cool stuff like that. So anyways, I don't want to, belabor the point too much, but that's kind of why you'll start to see these sponsors again. I'm going to keep it super limited. They are hand-picked. But I would encourage you to go down there, like in a very real way. Like these people are I would consider them my friends. Like they're great folks with awesome stuff. So if you're looking for a digital overlanding magazine that's totally free, click through the Northology link, sign up for her digital magazine. I actually have an article that's going to be in the next issue, and I had one in the last one. And it's a beautiful magazine. It's totally free, right? So she also does events where she hosts these like private sort of tours up in like Michigan, Wisconsin area, but like gourmet cooking, like 3-day trips and stuff. So she does some cool stuff with that. More Expo, again, if you're in the Midwest at all and you want to go to an expo, there are not a lot of options, but the More Expo, not only is it convenient, but it's also awesome, right? So I've already set time aside. Actually, the day that it starts is my wife's birthday. So you want to talk about me being in the doghouse, right? Like I'm already always in the doghouse, but now I'm like, hey, for your birthday, let's go to an overlanding expo. So feel sorry for me there. But if you are interested in that, they haven't even started offering tickets yet. But again, click through that link to them and it'll take you to their Facebook page, and you can pre-register just to let them know how many people are going to be going. And also then they'll send you information when tickets are available. Of course, I'll be talking about it too, but just that helps them out. And then, the third one, the Last US Bags, again, awesome stuff, awesome gear. I highly recommend their stuff from personal experience, right? And Will, the co-founder of the company, is an overlander himself. He's built his own DIY rooftop tent, so like he gets it. He's one of us. So that was why those were the three that I'm like, hey guys, I want to work with you guys. Can we work together? So I'm super excited about it. I can't wait for you guys to see more of their stuff. I can't wait for more Expo. But so yeah, that's it on the sponsorship front. You'll see those three things. I'm going to mention them in videos, especially for new folks just coming to the channel that haven't heard it before. But I'm trying to build some real relationships with some awesome small businesses to help them out too. And I think it's going to be good for everybody. So I'm excited. All right, so that's it. Let's move into the show. So tonight, so as many of you know, I went camping. Last week, I actually took like a day and part of a day, like a day and a half off work because the weather was just going to be perfect last Thursday and Friday. And I drove down to Hoosier National Forest solo, found a great spot, and kind of just set up. And I made a bunch of videos too. So I've already got one scheduled for Sunday, and then I've got another one scheduled for Tuesday. And the one on Tuesday is kind of my whole setup. So I don't think I've ever really had a video of the truck like fully deployed and opened up, like do-it-yourself rooftop tent open, awning out, folding table set up, sliders out the back, like everything set up. So in that video, I'm actually going to like literally walk you around the whole truck, show you the full setup. I've got a custom storage solution that I hand fabricated in the back of the Xterra for both my small aluminum table and my telescoping ladder for the rooftop tent, which I'm kind of proud of. It's nothing fancy at all, but it's cool. I dig it, and it works perfectly, and it costs literally nothing because I used like scrap metal I had laying around. So that's in that video too. So there's cool stuff coming. But where I'm going with that is, while I was there, I shot a video of my camp kitchen. So there will be like a visual representation of this coming. But tonight I kind of wanted to talk through it with you guys to kind of hear, what your setups were, what you guys use. So I'm going to kind of start with types of cooking. So I kind of want to talk through like basic, intermediate, and advanced types of cooking. So post up in the comments and let me know like what type do you think you are? Like, are you the hot dogs and Lunchables or pre-made, gas station sandwiches type where you don't even need silverware or anything like that? Or are you more like, oh, I'll bring like a steak and like some canned chili or like things like that, and but where you do need like a grill and maybe a griddle and some pans and stuff? Or are you like the type that's like all fresh ingredients, cooking on like a river stone over a fire, like, advanced, right? So I would put myself in the category of intermediate. I used to be basic. So I used to be the guy that was like, I'm going to bring a Lunchable for lunch. I'm going to bring one of those, Hostess cherry pies for breakfast. And I'm going to bring like some hot dogs for dinner. And I just need like a cooler. And I didn't even think to bring plates or silverware usually because it was just all like pre-made, pre-packaged stuff. And I'm not slamming that at all. That's what I used to do, right? And it's, if you don't want to have to mess with and you don't want to have the expense of buying all that stuff, it can be a great option, right? All you need is a trash bag, basically. Eat your stuff, toss it in the trash, you're good to go. No grill, no dishes, no nothing, right? So, hey, that hiking guy, what's up, man? He says intermediate too. So yeah, that brings us to intermediate, which is where I would put myself. So I've been basic until very recently, like this year, I would say, where I'm like, the more that I watch, and it's YouTube, man. I watch these videos of these people like slow pans of their food on rocks, and they're like using giant cleavers to like cut up potatoes and stuff. And I'm just like, man, that's so cool. Like I want that, but I don't want that. Like I want the good food. I just don't want to have to think about it a whole lot and bring, an entire extra, like a trailer full of gear to be able to cook it. But so I would say this is kind of the person with, like gear wise, I think my setup's pretty good for this. So I have the 2-burner stove. I bring a griddle with me, which gives me some flexibility, on like what I want to cook and how I want to cook it. All right, Enoch says intermediate for sure. Yeah, I've seen you guys cook. I think you're intermediate to advanced maybe. But so like, you just have to have enough, right? So like, and I brought some of my stuff down here actually that I've cleaned up from this last trip. So like, this is my cheapy $20, maybe $15. It's very inexpensive non-stick griddle. And it's the perfect size for a Coleman double burner. So like, this is what I used on my last trip, and I cooked steaks on it, sausages on it. The trip before that, we did eggs, we did bacon. And it just takes that 2-burner stove that's kind of limiting, and it gives you a bigger surface area, and it gives you more options for how to cook things and what to cook. So I love that thing. As part of an intermediate cooker too now, like because I have multiple pieces of food, right? Like potatoes and meat and maybe some greens if I'm really feeling crazy. I need stuff to serve it on too. So you guys have all seen these before, but the UCO ware mess kits. I love these things because they're reusable. I like them. I mean, at one point I started to bring paper plates just because I was always forgetting to bring stuff, and I was like, at least I'll have an option. But then I was forgetting the paper plates, and it was no good. These things just stay in my camp kit all the time, my cooking kit all the time. And I've got 2 of them, so I've got options. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of with intermediate. Like you have plates, you have silverware, you got some sort of a grilling, like propane or gas powered griller. And like, I just got a can cooker, and like that's a pretty easy thing to use, but I'm kind of feeling like that's pushing me towards the top level of intermediate. Because now I'm going to cook some real stuff. I'm going to like slow cook some stuff. Sorry, Dylan, I don't mean to make you hungry. Nothing I make ever looks nearly as good as those people in those ASMR videos, I promise. But so then like advanced, like when I think of advanced, I'm thinking of like, like an expedition overland. Like those people have like an entire truck that is just dedicated to like food and cooking. And they like pull out the fridges, and they've got like, whereas I have like a pouch of mashed potato dust that I mix with water and throw some butter in if I'm really wanting to cook. These guys have like whole potatoes and seasonings and onions and green beans, and like they cook all of their food, right? So like kind of like what you would cook at home. I know this is silly, but this is what I would consider advanced. When you're out in the middle of nowhere, that's pretty advanced because you need a lot of stuff, a lot of food, a lot of cold storage. That amplifies the complexity of it immensely. So that's kind of the 3, sections that I kind of broke it into. It seems like we're all intermediate, which is cool. So be looking for that video of my kitchen walk around. I think that'll be later next week. Because I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the stuff tonight, but I think I've got some like good, super budget minded stuff. Like that griddle was like 15 or $20. And again, it totally changed the way I cook stuff. So speaking of that, let's kind of move into gear. And I would love it if you guys post up in the comments too, and just let me know like as we go. So I've broken it into sections like grills, storage, utensils, how do you serve the food, how do you clean up after you're done eating, that kind of stuff. But like I'm gonna start with grills and post up and let me know what you guys use. So you've heard me say this a million times, but Coleman double burner, right? $40 grill. Super cheap, does the job, it's fine, right? Like I don't have any problems with it. I just, the more that I see like, you know, Chad Boyd of Overland Addicts with his fancy, what's that, Camp Chef, I think is what he runs. Or no, he has those, he has fancier ones. He has even fancier ones now that he sells. Here, let's go find them. Oh, I just showed you the screen. Since I just screwed this up, these are the pictures of the patches. We're just going to randomly go to the patches because I just showed you the screen that has the patches on it. So check these things out. I got these little snapshots of these things the other day, and I'm pretty excited about them. I think they look pretty sweet. They're Velcro on the back and everything. They're 3D. I think they're like 3.5, 4 inches long, but like 3.5 inches tall. So pretty freaking cool. Never had patches before, so I'm super excited. Now we'll go back to the show. So let me give you guys a few more seconds of those, and I will pull this over. Let me go to Chad's website because I want to see. He uses these specific grills that just look amazing. Oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. Let's go find him. So there's Chad sitting in his chair. I don't know if he's here tonight. Okay, Dylan says when he's out, he cooks better than when he's at home because he only has to cook for himself. That's true. I mean, that's a good point. That does make it a little bit easier. I eat a little bit better, I think, when I'm on the trails than I do at home, just because we don't cook like food. Usually we're too tired by the time the day's over and the kids are going crazy and they don't want to eat real food anyways. So they don't. They just want like mac and cheese and we end up eating junk. So these cook partners, that's what Chad runs. But these things are just like, they're just gorgeous looking grills. They look super high quality. I'm sure that like the controls on them are infinitely better than my Coleman. Again, like not to slam the Coleman at all. The Coleman is a perfectly fine grill. And especially for the money, right? Like $40 is a pretty tough thing to compete against when you're talking. I don't know how much these are, but probably at least a couple $100, right? Oh shoot. Yeah, well, this one's not too bad. That one's 133. So I mean, that's the stand. My bad. Never mind. So there, see, that one's like $500. So see, like that's the thing, right? Like I would love to have like a super fancy grill. That's Jim. Okay, yes. So Enoch says Coleman dual fuel stove, and I saw that thing when you guys met up with me last week. That thing is really cool, and the fact that you can run it off regular old gasoline is super useful. I thought that was neat. But the Camp Chef Everest, that's the one I've been eyeing because that one is not unreasonably priced, and it seems really, really nice. Jim, comment and let us know. Like, here's my question. So on my Coleman double burner, those knobs are useless, right? Like they give you this full range of motion, but it's pretty much like on off. There is no like in between. There's no fine adjustment to like control the temperature. You just either have like a big flame or a small flame. That's it. On the Camp Chef, is it more like a home grill where you have more adjustment? Does it feel more like a grill that you might have like at your house? I'm curious about that because that's the one I've been eyeing because I think it's a great looking grill. I think it's about the same size as the Coleman, so it would probably fit in my existing slide out. And it just seems way better quality, right, than the Coleman. So anyways, while I'm waiting on you to comment on that, then, so the grill, I am fine with the Coleman. I think it's okay. Partnered with the Griddle, I think that makes a huge difference too. Just because I can control the temperature by moving stuff now, which you couldn't really before because you either had to be on the flame or off the flame. But with the Griddle, it kind of takes the heat and spreads it. So now when I start to see hot spots, just like you would at like a normal home grill, I can move the things that are getting a little toasty off to the side where it's not quite as hot, and I can control the temperature a little bit better. That Hiking Guy says Coleman double burner and UCO flat pack. Yeah, the UCO flat pack's kind of nice. Also a butane grill, jet boil for coffee making, sometimes campfire, firebox stove. Yeah, that's a good idea too. I'm kind of getting interested in Dutch ovens. I've seen a bunch of people use them. When my kids were in Cub Scouts, they cooked some amazing stuff in them. That was I was looking at Dutch ovens when I stumbled on the can cooker, and I was like, okay, that looks even easier. I'm going to buy that. And there are a ton of recipes for it, but I kind of like the idea of a Dutch oven too. But so for now, the Coleman is doing fine for me, but I would like to upgrade at some point. So storage. So that's my other kind of question for you guys. All right, Mo Leisure says cast iron works for us on the hot spots. Yep. Okay. That's true. I have a cast iron pan. I'm not the best at keeping it seasoned, so that's why I kind of use it sometimes, and then sometimes I don't because I need to re-season it. But it is really nice for spreading the heat. I did a steak on it once that came out amazing. It just took a long time to heat it up. All right, Jim says good flame control, 10,000 BTU at each burner. Wow. You got it for $50, Jim? Okay, I need to know how to do that. Because for $50, I will buy it right now. That's amazing. So yeah, cast iron is a good idea too. But then storage, right? So as we get crazier and crazier with our gear, again, if you're just bringing hot dogs and Lunchables and cold meat sandwiches and stuff, you really just need a cooler and a trash bag. When you get into the intermediate, even the intermediate stage. So last week I took a 2-day trip, 2-day, 2-night. I brought a 7-gallon water jug and I brought a 20-liter cooler, 12 beers in it. Okay, that's important. So that takes up a lot of room. I brought a big steak. I brought some sausages. I did bring a Lunchable actually for lunch the second day, just because it was easy. But I was quickly running out of space for stuff. And like, especially if you're going on a longer trip, like a week-long trip or something, I would almost think you'd have to like stop somewhere and like re-up on your ice if you're doing a cooler, which pushes me towards a fridge freezer. So that is kind of one of my big things that I'm thinking about for the future is I think fridge freezer is going to kind of become necessary. Okay, Bargain Hunt sells what appears to be Amazon returns. I'm literally going to go Google that here as soon as we're done. As soon as I'm done tonight, I'm going to Bargain Hunt and I'm going to find that. Actually, why we have a computer right here. Let's go look. Bargain Hunt. Bargain Hunt. Do they still have these things? You get 20% off one item. Okay, that's good to know. All right, now I'm going to be lost in this. Okay, I can't get lost in this, but this is staying up. I'm going to go look at that here afterwards. Thank you, Jim. Yeah, they don't make diesel-fueled grills. I'm sure that there's probably a reason for that. But yeah, that would last forever. Cool. So storage-wise, that is a big thing. Bye. That is a big thing that you have to think about, right? So as you get more and more and more gear, you've got to think about storage. So that is where, all right, I'm going to turn off this monitor because now I'm getting like work stuff. Bye. It's too late for work. We're not working anymore. We're talking about overlanding. So storage stuff, and I don't have it down here for some reason, but you guys have seen before my Last US Bags Happy Camper bag. That thing is amazing. So that's what I use for my storage for all of my stuff. So like that stuff I just showed you, I literally pulled out of the dishwasher and carried it down here to have tonight as props for this thing. But normally when I'm done with that stuff, I wash it when I get home from my trip in the dishwasher, get it all cleaned up, and it all goes straight back into my Happy Camper because there are literally spots for my long utensils bag where I keep all my knives and spatulas and tongs and cutting boards. Like this cutting board here is one of the things I used for the steak last time. That all goes in one outside pocket. I've got a utensils pocket. I've got a miscellaneous pocket that has, so like I have one of those, it's almost like a hammock strap with carabiners on it for a drying rack, if you will. So I have that thing that goes in there. I've got microfiber towels that I can use for drying stuff off that dry quickly. Okay, yeah, so it's hit or miss, no inventory online. Okay, I'm still going to watch it like a hawk, Jim. And then Dylan says he prefers diesel. Yeah, that makes perfect sense if you've got a diesel vehicle especially. So I think storage becomes a problem, right? Like it kind of becomes a problem. So I have part of my drawer system is dedicated to storage for food. So I've got a bunch of canned goods in there, like dry goods, like my mashed potatoes and things like that. All my seasonings go in there. A lot of my cooking stuff, so like the regulator, my propane tanks, those all go in my drawers. But other than that, everything else goes in that Last US Bags Happy Camper bag. Like all my utensils, the griddle goes down in the big middle pocket of that. I've got some cooking spray in there. I've got my UCO ware mess kits go in there. And then I've got my pots and pans. I've got 2 full sets of like backpacking pots and pans. So I've got options. And all that stuff fits in that bag. So I've got the one bag that I have to pack up, and then everything else is just in my drawer. So that's part of it, is I don't want to forget stuff, right? Like it would be very easy to forget stuff. But so you got to kind of think about storage. So that's how I do it. But again, I think my next big purchase is going to be some sort of like a portable battery pack to run a fridge freezer. That's what I'm really looking at, because it would just make everything so much easier. Like that 20-liter cooler that I have is a Yeti knockoff basically, and it works great. I mean, it's really good. So I left probably about midday on Thursday, and I got home about midday on Saturday. And by the time I got home, so like by Saturday morning, my ice was almost totally gone. So, you know, what is that, a day and a half? I mean, not quite, almost 2 days, which isn't too bad. And I didn't, because it had, everything was pre-chilled mostly. So like I had frozen the steak, I had frozen the sausages, all the beers were already in the fridge, so they were cold. And I poured maybe, I don't know, like 4 trays of ice in it, plus we have a refrigerator with one of those small door things. I poured that in there, plus like 4 trays of ice. So not great. Not great, like not terrible, but like a fridge freezer, I just feel like would really open up what I'd be able to do from a cooking standpoint if I didn't have to worry about like prioritization of what to eat when because of, you know, it going bad or it getting too warm. So storage is kind of a thing. That's where it kind of pushes me towards trailers. Like I feel like, man, if I had a trailer, I could have a lot more room for a lot more stuff, right? Like I didn't even bring my can cooker last time because I'm like, it's big and bulky and it takes up a lot of room, so I just didn't even try it. But if I had a trailer, you know, that would be nice. Jim says, why not just a dual battery system for the truck? Good question. So, a couple things. I am totally a fan of dual battery setups. There's a good amount of expense involved, right? Like I'm on a traditional, regular old battery right now, and I just replaced it like 2 months ago. So non-deep cycle, just regular batteries. So I'm looking at probably like $600 to $700 to buy 2, what are they, class 31 or whatever they're called. I think it's class 31 is the regular battery size. But they're like $300 a piece probably. So you know, that's what makes it a little bit tough. And then you've got the dual battery charging system, which is another, what, $100, $150. So, I mean, it's a pretty reasonable expense. I mean, I like the idea of it, but at the same time, what I'm really getting close to is just whenever my starter battery dies, replacing that with a deep cycle and then switching my solar around so it charges that. And that would pretty much solve the problem for me. I don't think I would need a dual battery system if I had a 100-watt panel trickle charging constantly a deep cycle, right? Like I should be able to make it a day at a time easy, or a night at a time, I guess I should say. So that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. But the reason that I mention a portable power generator is so the battery that I've got in the back, so if you're not familiar, I've got a small battery in the back that's powered by the solar right now, and I use that for charging accessories. But I'm starting to realize its limits. So my battery is a 35 amp hour, so it's not very big. I mean, it's probably about like that big, about like that tall. But so like I tried to charge my laptop and some chainsaw batteries last time, and it totally kept just shutting down, like fusing out my my inverter because it was just too much for it. And it wasn't very sunny. I was kind of in shade a lot, so I wasn't pumping that much out of the solar. And so that's where I'm kind of like, man, if I just have like a 500 watt or 500, what are they, amp hour, the 500 level battery packs. Like there's a Yeti has a 400, Jackery has a 500 and a 1000 now. But those things are just, they're sweet, they're portable. I could use it at home. I could use it backyard camping trips. If we go on trips, sometimes the wife wants to take her boring Honda Pilot and go to a state park. If we don't take my big rig with all my stuff on it, then I could just pop that thing out and take it with me. So there are multiple, you know, advantages to that. And I feel like for the money, so those 500, it's about $1 per amp hour. I think that's what they are, or I could be making that up, or milliamp hour maybe. Yeah, exactly. A deep cycle with solar would be really nice. Like that would solve it. And that's probably realistically what's going to happen. But I do like the idea of that portable battery pack just for like, because I try to do a lot of work. So like when I went on that last 2-day trip, I had my laptop with me and I'm trying to edit videos, which sucks the battery. And I couldn't get it charged back off the thing. So like maybe 8, 9 o'clock at night, my computer was just dead. And I couldn't even recharge it unless I could have done it off the main starter battery, but that defeats the whole purpose, right? That makes me super nervous to start charging a bunch of stuff off my non-deep cycle starter battery and then get stranded out there and look like an idiot. So that's kind of why I like the portable ones. We'll see. I don't know. I think a deep cycle, no matter what, I think my next battery, just starter battery, will just be a deep cycle anyways, so that I don't have to worry about it. It's just a backup, right? And then I almost will have like a dual battery system. So good points though. And then Dylan is really yelling at me that I should get a trailer. Man, Andrew Smith, he posts on our page sometime. He's building an M1101 trailer. He runs Indiana Overlanders. He had a really sweet M416 trailer with like a 20-gallon water system with in and out filtration and all this stuff. and we talked about it, and he was giving me a really good deal on it, but I just couldn't push the wife into it. She was picturing like a 30-foot like trailer, and I was like, are you crazy? I can't pull that with the Xterra, and that we can't get anywhere in that. Like, if we're just gonna go to state parks, I'd rather just not go. So yeah, so that kind of, and now he sold the trailer is where I was going with that. So I was really trying to push her into letting me get that, because that would have solved a lot of problems, but she wouldn't let me spend thousands of dollars just arbitrarily, which I get. So cool. So next, utensils. So utensils are weird for me. I'm not a caveman, I promise, but like, I just always feel like it's such a pain. Like half the time I'm like stabbing stuff with my pocket knife and like eating steak that way, like rubbing it around in some mashed potatoes and like jamming it in my mouth. By the way, you're going to notice me mention mashed potatoes a lot. If I could marry mashed potatoes, I would do it. Like mashed potatoes and steak, like meat and potatoes. Like I'm a Southern Indiana boy. Like that's my jam. So I literally only eat meat and mashed potatoes pretty much every meal for every trip that I go on. So sorry that you're going to hear mashed potatoes a lot. But again, in the past, like utensils were like a thing I didn't think about. And then you get out there and then you're like, maybe you have a spork if you're lucky. So I will say, like, you know, my UCO ware stuff is nice just because it fits inside of here. It's got a spoon, it's got a fork. It's not a spork, it's a spoon fork, which I like because, you know, sporks suck. Like these actually at least have some real tines to them, so you can actually poke some stuff. The one thing that is kind of funny is the knife here. Where's the camera? I don't know where you are. That's the knife right there. It's literally like just like a plastic edge that they put like some serrations on there. You can kind of see it there. So the knife is kind of a joke, but the rest of it is great. And I mean, I have a pocket knife every time I go camping, right? So it's not a huge deal. But so now I actually carry silverware with me. So I've got my UCO-ware stuff. I've also got, these things came with one of my cooking pan things, but they're like foldable. They're actually metal though, and they're pretty nice, but they fold in half too. So they're just teeny tiny, which I like. So these all go, I've got like 4 knives and 4 spoons that all fit into a tiny little bag that's probably like the size of like an egg. And I take these with me too. So just having a few options is nice, I think. So I think utensils are important if you're not a caveman like me. Serving stuff. So we talked about the UCO-ware mess kits. We talked about the cutting board. I'll use that as a plate sometimes if I have to. And then cleaning up. So cleaning up, again, I never used to clean my dishes. I would just go out and I would use it once and it'd be filthy and I'd put it in like a plastic bag and take it home. Now though, I'm civilized. I'm like a real human that like actually cares about cooking and cleaning up. But so I got this folding, and it's full of junk, but it folds flat. All this stuff's gonna come flying out of it. So it folds like that flat, and I just keep this in my drawers. But then when I get to camp, you just expand it out. You got a little wash basin, you throw some soap in it, dump some water out of your water jerry can into it. You can wash dishes. The other thing that I swear by, and I think you should all buy this thing. I'll put a link in the description down below. It's like $4. It's from a company called MSR. It's called like the MSR Alpine dish brush scraper. This thing is my favorite thing. So like, again, the first time I went camping, I took my little wash basin with me and I was like, oh man, I'm set. I have a wash basin. And then I get my dirty dishes over there and I'm like, crap, what am I gonna wash them with? So I ended up, I'm not kidding, using my microfiber towels as like dish towels, getting them soaking wet and filthy and greasy and like scrubbing out all these dishes with these stupid towels because I didn't think to bring something. Now this just stays in my UCO-ware kits, but so it's got like a little fine scraper here and then it's got like a big scraper down this side. It's got a rubber grip on it so you don't lose, you know, your hands on it. And then it's got just a little brush on it. It cleans up really well. You can get the grease off. So I just kind of go like that in the soapy water and it gets all the grease off of it. This thing is a lifesaver. And it's like, you know, you can see how small it is. It's like smaller than my fingers. But it's like $4 or $5 on Amazon and it is amazing. I highly recommend it. That changed my whole outlook on cleaning dishes up at camp. All right, let me catch up on stuff here. Would a regular jump box work just as well? I don't know. I'm just asking. So you mean would a regular jump box work to like restart my battery or to like run accessories off of? Because I think, and maybe you can charge stuff off those, but I think they're more for like cold cranking amps and like a quick jolt than like a constant charge. So good question though. I think though that, see, like I just like to charge a lot of accessories, maybe especially because I'm shooting videos most of the time and have a laptop and stuff. It's just really tough to keep AC stuff charged, right? As you all know. So that's and I love that portability. Like I just love the idea of like it's running the fridge freezer, and maybe I get to camp and I unplug it for an hour or two and move it over next to my chair while I'm sitting around the campfire and I'm working on my computer and I keep that charging. And meanwhile the fridge freezer's closed, so it's not no cold air's getting out. And then I take it back over, plug it back in, it starts back up and starts cooling again. Like I love that idea. All right, I'm catching up with you here though. So Dylan says downgrade the car if you need cash. I know. If I got rid of the Infinity, I could do all kinds of stuff. I've actually thought about that recently here. Like I really want a Z again for my other car, but my wife won't let me get 3 cars. She's already mad enough at the 2. I tried a trailer and that didn't work, so there's no way a car is working. The problem is I really like the Infinity though. So for you, those of you that don't know, I have an Infinity Q50 also. It's not anything new or anything. It's like a 2014 Sport. And it's reasonably quick, but it's not fast. But it's got 14 speakers and heated leather seats and heated steering wheel, and it looks really nice, and it's got all these options. So it's like they're opposites. I enjoy driving both vehicles, and like I switch them up almost every day. Like I'll drive a different one every day. But yeah, if somebody wants to buy that thing, if somebody's really interested in those, let me know because I might sell it to you. Because then I could do more stuff. Yeah, for a trailer. Okay. What brand of power tools do you have? Ugh. I'm not like a big name brand power tools guy. I should be. I like the really expensive stuff, but man, I am like super cheap with power tools. Not so much with cars, but with power tools, yes. Like I have a bunch of, like my chainsaw's Black & Decker. I have a Black & Decker trimmer. I have a Black & Decker 18-volt drill. I just got a new cordless 4.5-inch angle grinder, which I love because I've always had one that's corded, and it's just such a pain in the ass. Okay, Dylan, I understand, Mom. I should buy cheaper cars. I get it. I should be cheaper. The car is where all the money went. I spent a bunch of money on the car because I just was really obsessed with it. I really wanted a Q50, and now I have it, and I'm like, damn it, why did I spend so much money on that car? I could have so much nice stuff if I hadn't spent all that money on that car. So yeah, anyways. All right, that pretty much gets me through the gear stuff. I'm getting back on track here. I'm getting focused. So just to kind of wrap it up, where are we at? It's 9:37. We're actually doing pretty good on time for your batteries. Oh, to replace the batteries if I sold the car and got a Civic? Yeah. If I bought a Civic, I would kill myself, though, I think. No offense to people that drive Civics. I've owned one. It's a great car. It's just so boring. That's the thing. Like, the truck is exciting in its own way, and the car is exciting in a different way. Like, I had a Honda Accord that I leased, and it was a Sport with a 4-cylinder and a CVT. And it was a fantastic car. I got like 35 miles to the gallon, and I was always like impressed with my gas mileage. But like the more I drove it, the more I became like a grandpa, and the more I was just like, I hated it. And it was a lease, so I couldn't modify it. And if I can't modify something, then I just die on the inside. Yeah, you want to see a trailer? Well, then buy me one, Dylan, and just send it over here, and I will. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I think at some point there may be a trailer. It might be like in our next house because I need room to store it. That's the problem. I have a 2-car garage, 2.5-car garage. And we have 3 cars right now, and my oldest is about to turn 11. So, like, we're just 5 years away from having to have another car here. So, yeah. Although maybe by then, maybe in like 5 years, the Xterra, I'm sure, will still be running. Maybe he'll get the Xterra, and maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll upgrade to like an Infinity SUV. That's kind of the dream. I would love to have like an Infinity QX80 on like a 6.5-inch lift with like 37s. And like just like a rooftop tent and a trailer and like just the dumbest, most unexpected thing that you've ever seen. That would literally be like that would be, if this is my full-time job by then and someone like at Infinity knows me and they're like, yeah, we'll give you one. Okay, let's go. I'll do it. I don't think that's gonna happen, but you never know. So lastly, I kind of wanted to touch on like recipes. So like, where do you guys find these things, right? I find that YouTube is like my best bet. I go there and I watch all these videos. They make me super hungry. You see stuff cooking on rocks and stuff, and these people that actually know what they're doing, cooking these amazing pieces of food. But I do find a lot of good recipes and stuff on there that I want to try out. Like the can cooker is especially that. There are a ton of can cooker recipes on there. Also on their website, there's a ton of recipes. The thing I like about, and I keep going back to this can cooker, and I haven't even tried it yet, but, well, actually, I take that back. We used it at home one time, and it was amazing. So it's like a portable pressure cooker, and the design is based off of, I guess they used to like cook stuff out on the prairie in like those big milk jugs that like farmers would store milk in from the cows. And this is like a shortened version of that with a lid that clamps onto it, just like a milk jug. And then it has a little hole in it that lets the pressure out. So it's like a little pressure cooker. But like you put your veggies in first, I think, and then you put your meat on top of that. Then you pour beer over it most times. And it's just like makes like an amazing stew. Like you can just dump random things in there, and every video that I've seen, it comes out amazing. So definitely, and they're like, the small one that I got is like $30, $35, something like that. It was really cheap. And then I went straight to their website and I downloaded like 15 different recipes. We had the one that we did was a hash brown soup, and it was basically like you take hash browns, like frozen hash browns, and like cheese and some sour cream and some bacon and stuff like that, and you basically dump it all in this thing and cook it for like half hour, 40 minutes, and it makes like a potato, like a loaded baked potato soup. And it was the easiest thing that I have ever made, probably in my, like, I'm not a chef. And I dumped all these ingredients in and popped it on the oven or on the stove, finally. Popped it on the stove and left it sit for like 30, 40 minutes, and then came back and opened it up, and it was amazing. It was delicious. The whole family ate it. Actually, even the boys ate it, which is shocking. Something in my eye all of a sudden for some reason. I'm sure it's metal from the last time I worked on the truck. So can cooker, I've used it once and I'm already a huge fan. I can't wait to like actually use it over a fire, because they use it over fires a lot of the time. That's kind of the intention, is just kind of set it on some coals and let it go. Like, do you guys have any? Yeah, okay, Dutch oven. That's what I was thinking. I feel like Dutch ovens are really easy to use too, and like, I love the idea of cooking over a fire. Like the 2-burner grill is nice. It's nice to have that stove. But I feel like I never used to use it. I used to cook over the fire all the time. Simple stuff like burgers and hot dogs and things like that, steaks sometimes. But now it's just so convenient with the stove that I use that a lot. But I kind of miss the fire. Like I feel like stuff tastes better when it comes off the fire. I feel like there's more satisfaction with it when you like cook something like a caveman over a fire too. I don't know why. But like, do you guys have, I was going to ask, post up and let me know. And then when this is done and it shuts down, post in the comments if you guys have like a link to like some family recipe or like something that you guys love as like your favorite recipe for like when you go camping. Because I'm always looking for that stuff, because I feel like I can't, I mean, again, I get hooked on YouTube and I might spend like 4 hours, but then I come out of it with like 2 recipes that I could actually cook that are actually good. And it's YouTube, so it's kind of like, you know, I don't know this person. Maybe it's really good, and then when I cook it, it's not. But if you guys tell me it's good, then I'll trust you. So that was the recipes part of it. So what else do you guys want to talk about? That was pretty much it. I wanted to talk about, you know, the different types of cooking, where we kind of fall, the gear stuff that we've got, recipes. But again, on that trip that I took last week, it was last week. It was just a week ago. It was so nice to actually like be prepared. I used my checklists to actually make sure that I brought all the stuff I was supposed to. This steak, I'll have to find a picture of this steak, because it was like this big. It was like bigger than my head, and it was probably like that thick. It was so thick that it ended up, as I was cooking it, that was when Mo Leisure's X Ventures came. So Enoch and Delia came by. They're super cool, by the way. Check out Mo Leisure's X Ventures on Instagram, Facebook. You'll see them. They post on some of my stuff sometimes. But they are like literally traveling across the country, going to all the national parks, and they're seeing some cool stuff. But they came, and I was cooking that big steak the night that they were there, and I'm like, yeah, let's make dinner. And I start cooking this steak, and I look over, and they're both sitting by the fire with their own steaks or whatever they made, and like corn on the cob and all this stuff, and like my steak is like brown, like that thick, and then like just rare, the whole rest of it. And I'm like, I ended up literally cutting that steak into like little fillets and cooking the little pieces because the steak was so huge. Yeah, biggest steak ever. It was just silly. I couldn't even eat it all, but it was really good. It was worth it. It was really good. But yeah, it was just silly, right? So be smarter with your food decisions than I am. I'm stupid. I buy just dumb stuff. I talk about saving money, and then I bought like a $14 steak and ate like 2/3 of it. So don't do that. So that's what I had tonight. This one's a little bit shorter. We're 45 minutes. I can fill for time. We could talk about beer. Do you guys want to hear about the thing that I'm doing tomorrow morning? It's actually kind of cool. I can probably show you. Let me pop my screen up here and I'll show you. So tomorrow morning, while working, I'm not driving. I'm going to be on my computer in the car. If you guys are familiar, if you're near Indiana, 450 North Brewery. So these guys make these things called slushy beers. And they're like, so we stopped there after a month ago. I went to Hoosier National Forest with a friend, and on our way back we stopped here and ate lunch, and we had a flight of their slushy beers. They have really good pizza and stuff. Where are their beers? But so they do this, like, I think it's once a month or once every 2 weeks, where they do like a new beer releases. See, so they do these beer releases. The next one happened today. So we pre-ordered our beer today, and then tomorrow we can pick up between 11 and 7 p.m. When we were there last time, it was a release day, and I kid you not, there were like, the whole parking lot was full of cars and trucks. And we pulled into a spot, and there was a pickup truck, a full-size Chevy pickup truck, and it was on its axles. Like, the bed was down on the tires, and they had a full bed full of beer. And I'm going to tell you the prices of this stuff because it's not the price that I would normally pay for beer, but I just wanted to try it this one time. But so these guys literally had an entire truck and a Chrysler 300 with the trunk and the back seat and the front passenger seat full of these beers. And people come from around the country. They were from Pittsburgh, I think they said. And we were like, why? What are you doing? And they were like, these beers are very highly sought after where we're from. And so they spent $15,000 on beer and drove all the way from PA out to Indiana to pick up these beers to drive them back. And then I think what they do is they distribute it out to either like a big, huge group of friends or like breweries, or not breweries, liquor stores and stuff like that. So they must turn a profit off of it. They have to. It's the only way that it makes sense. So the case, for a case quote, or a 4-pack of 16 ounces, it's $22 to $25 each. Take that in for a second. So think about how much beer that was that those guys bought for like 15 grand. Oh, it was squatting so bad. I was like, these guys are not going to make it back. So I bought 2 4-packs and it cost me $44, which is outside of my comfort zone. I'm not going to lie, but you know what? It's the trip and everything else. So I'm riding with my buddy down there. We're going to have lunch there. We're going to pick up our beer. He bought like $150 worth of beer, which is only like, what, 6 4-packs? Like, it's crazy to me. I don't drink like Keystone Light or anything like that, but like a $9 to $12 6-pack is about right for me. That is called bootlegging. You're right. I think you're 100% right. Yeah, I don't think it was safe. I'm pretty sure that they probably had flashers on and like barely made it back. But yeah, you show up, they check your ID, they verify your order, and then they like bring out your beer to you. And then you leave, and you've paid them an inordinate amount of money for a small quantity of beer. But like the thing is, they don't sell, it's supply and demand, right? Like they don't sell these beers at stores. So the only way you can get it is to pre-order it and then come pick it up. It's a brilliant scheme if you think about it from the standpoint of a brewery, right? Like just brew up like a big old batch of beer, and like once or twice a month, like just say, hey, if you want it, come get it. And also we're charging you 5 times what you would pay at a liquor store. But this is the only place you can get it. So it's kind of amazing. It's in Columbus, Indiana. They also have a winery as part of the place, which is kind of interesting. But the beers, I will say, I'm not like a fruity beer person generally. I'm more of like a heavy IPA type person. But these things were actually really good. And like, I don't like all the crazy stuff. Like they had one that was like a marshmallow beer, and I was like, no way I'm going to like that. And it was actually pretty good. Like, not going to lie. The 2 that I got, I don't think they show them on here. The 2 that I got, I think this might be one of them. This Velvet Cherry Slush might be one of them. And then there's one called, I tried this Slushy XXL last time and it was amazing. There's one called Unicorn Juice, Sapphires and Rubies, Love Nuggets, Citra Nuggets. The other one I got was like a double IPA. So I got like a double IPA and one of these like super slushy cherry grape type beers just because I was curious about it. So I'm pretty excited about that. I am technically working that whole time too. So be thinking about me because I'm going to be on like a live phone call for that whole time while I'm in the car going to pick up beer during a work day. So yeah, so that'll be fun. I'm excited about it. So that'll be an adventure. It won't quite be overlanding, but I'll probably take some pictures and stuff, and I'll post some pictures up so you guys can see what it's like, and I'll let you know what those beers are like because I'm sure they better be amazing for $22 for a 4-pack. So cool. All right, guys. Well, I stretched this another 5 minutes. If you haven't already bounced off, thank you. Let me turn off the monitor. All right, cool. So that was the sort of the talk about kitchen setups and stuff. Again, there will be a video coming that will give you like an in-depth of my setup and kind of you'll see it all deployed. I'm kind of excited about that because it was actually kind of fun to shoot. And I think it's pretty interesting. Like if you're cheap like me, I think my whole setup is maybe a couple $300 maybe for like everything I have. I mean, $40 Coleman grill, $20 griddle. My UCO ware stuff is super cheap. My utensils are cheap. That dish brush is like $5. The wash basin's like $15, $12, something like that. So I literally walk you through the whole thing. Where will the pictures be? I'll put them on All Things Overlanding. I'll pretend like it's overlanding for the day and take pictures of the beer and the trip and the place and everything, and I'll put them up on All Things Overlanding. So you will see them there. Cool. Oh, dang it, Keith. That's all right. Well, when we stop, we're just about done. So when we stop, it'll pop right back up. So feel free to watch it if you got 50 minutes on your hand. Keep the live stream going. I'm still on my first beer. It slows me way down. Also, Dylan, you have to think about other people are going to come watch this later, and the more random it becomes, the more we enjoy it, but probably the less random people that come to the channel are like, oh, what's kitchen setups? Let's learn about that. And then I'm like just drunk talking about picking up beer during a workday. So, yeah. Well, do you guys have any questions? If you want to keep it going, ask me a question. We're freestyling at this point. We're stretching for an hour. Keith just got here. He should have something. Oh, that's so good. If you want to know what I'm drinking right now, this is my kind of my go-to because it's relatively reasonably priced, but the Founders Centennial IPA, pretty legit beer. Was this like 7.2% ABV, I think? 65 IBUs, 7.2% alcohol by volume. So it's a pretty legit beer. Booze does make everything more fun. We need to have at some point I will plan a trip where it's like somewhat centrally based. A lot of you guys are out towards like Missouri, is that right? Keith, I'm sure you probably are, right? Because so in February, the Moore Expo is in Missouri, and I'll be out there. So if you guys are going to that, like I said, go down to the description, click through the link, help me out, but go pre-register and let them know so they know. Yeah, I don't think they'd watch the whole thing. Thanks, Dylan. Now I'm going to end it and go cry, just so you know. I mean, you're honest. You're not wrong, right? Like, there's only like a few of you guys. Oh, you're okay. You're way down there. So why are you called St. Louis Arch? I figured you were somewhere around there. How's the weather in Texas right now? New Mexico. Ooh. So that's... Did you guys see... do you guys follow All Over Overland? Or Lee Odom, One Overland? Those guys went down through there. Oh, Jim, you're in Cincinnati. Hey, you're next door. I'm in the northeast side of Indy. But they just did the Enchanted something trail in New Mexico. Have you done that, Dylan? It looked beautiful. It looked amazing. That's really far away from me because they don't have time. Thank you, Dylan. You've saved my feelings. I feel much less insulted now. You're registering for the Moore thing? Cool. It'll be great to see you guys again. That'll be cool. Click through my link below to do it. Go through the link. North Dakota. Yeah. Yeah. So should I stop calling you by your name? Like last time I called you someone else and then you told me your name and so now I've like intentionally remembered it, but I'll just keep calling you St. Louis Arch then. Make it easier on me and you and no one will know who you are. Cool. All right. Well, short way for Enchanted Rockies Trail. That's what it is. Yes. Yes. Yeah, that looked really cool. Thank you, Mo Leisures. Appreciate it. You guys are good friends. By the way, for you guys, Mo Leisures, you inspired me. So if you guys don't know, again, awesome channel. They have an Xterra too, and it's super awesome. They have a really nice rooftop tent, unlike my janky self-built rooftop tent. But they came and hung out with me last week. Randomly, they were passing through Indiana at the same time that I was camping. So they came and they hung out, and they inspired me because they had these really nice chairs, like really nice chairs. And I was like, man, those are really cool. Dylan just egging me on. Here, let me drink more beer. I'll keep going. But so they had these really, really nice chairs. And I was like, man, those are really cool. Like, where'd you get them? And like, oh, we got them from Amazon. I was like, oh, how much were they? They're like, oh, you know, they're like $60 or $70 or something like that. But they're like, but we sent them an email and they gave us a free chair. And I was like, you can do that? So I did that. I followed in your footsteps. I sent one email to one company. Have you guys heard of that? The Click chair, CLIQ. It was like a Kickstarter deal for a while. Well, here, why am I just talking about it and describing it when I can show you? Check this thing out. Click chair. So I remembered seeing this chair like all over Facebook and like all the retargeting messages and things like that. And I was like, that is a really cool chair because of a couple things. So one, it looks pretty big, but it opens itself up. So unlike my other, like my Marchway, where you gotta undo all this stuff and you gotta put these aluminum poles in and everything, this thing is like self-opening. So it has a little strap on it. It's the size of a water bottle, as you can see there. You literally open it up, undo the strap, and hold it up, and it just pops open like an instant tent. So I sent these guys an email, and I said, hey, I've got a YouTube channel, and I would love to review your chair. And they actually said yes. They actually are sending me a chair. So I'm super excited to check it out because these things just look like they're really well built, and they look like they're really well constructed. So I should be getting one of these in like the next week or two. So I'm super excited about that. So thank you, Mo Leisures, for giving me the courage to like approach a company and like just ask them for something. So I encourage you all to do that. Like it can't hurt, right? What's it gonna hurt? So this thing looks pretty rad. I can't wait to check it out. So I have one of those coming and I'm very excited about it. All right, we have like 3 minutes left, Dylan. Is this sufficient for you or do you want to keep going? You can't see? Oh yeah, you can't see because I don't have, yeah, sorry. I guess it would help if I turn the monitor on. Hold on. There you go. Look at this thing. These are the chairs. So like watch when this dude opens it here in a second. It's like it's the size of a water bottle. And just watch how it opens. So the whole mechanism is super cool. Now, probably my only fear is like 6 months from now, if that mechanism breaks, I'm kind of screwed. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? So like, yeah, thank you very much. But so yeah, I was just like, you know what? This chair is really cool. I really like your product. I think it's awesome. I have a YouTube channel. I'd be happy to do a review. And they were like, yeah, we'll send you one. I was shocked. Yeah, exactly, right? Like that's the whole thing, Keith, is like, and I told them, I said, I didn't make them any like guarantees. I'm just like, I'd love to check it out and do a review. Like I'll do a short term and I'll do a long term. I'll do my like initial thoughts and then 6 months from now I'll do a long term. Because this is like a $90 chair. Like it's not cheap, but it's cheaper than like a Helinox or something like that. It's a little more than a Marchway, but I mean, some of those are 60, 70 bucks. This one's 90, but if you don't have to, like, the aluminum things are not bad to have to put all the legs together and stand it up and put the mesh on it. But what I like about this is you don't even have to put that mesh on. It's all one piece. You open it up, it opens itself up, and you're set. So super, super quick. There you go, Dylan. Yep, just start making videos. How much does it weigh? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't think it's much. Let's go see. Oh God, this is just a video. I don't want to see that. Shop, click chair. So it's 90 bucks. You can get it in a bunch of colors. I have no idea what color I'm getting. They'll probably send me a pink one, which that's fine. I'm not going to complain. Stable up to 300 pounds, weatherproof, set up in seconds, 12 inches off the ground, bottle size. How much does it weigh, bro? Best seat in 5 seconds. I like the quick setup time because I hate having to set up all that stuff. They're not gonna, they really don't tell you the weight. When I get it, I'll throw it on the scale and I'll tell you. I will, Justin. Hey Justin, thanks for the tip, buddy. I will, when I get it, because I can't find it anywhere, I will literally put this thing on the scale and I will weigh it for you guys and tell you. I mean, I have to think it's like a pound or two, maybe at the most. It seems like it wouldn't be that much, I wouldn't think. So, but it looks really cool. Like super lightweight, pretty sturdy from the looks of it. Aircraft grade aluminum, that's a good, buzz phrase. Solid rubber feet tip. Ripstock ballistic nylon. You can shoot this chair and it will survive. I don't think that's true. Now I'm making promises that they have not authorized me to make. But yeah, so I'm excited about that. So there will be a review coming of that once I get it, and I'll weigh it for you. Just for you, Jim. I will weigh it, and then I will send you a message, and I will let you know. Or I will post it up. So yeah, so that's coming. Boom. There you go, Dylan. We made it to an hour. Are you satisfied now? feel like I'm being held hostage now. I'm kidding. I don't feel like that at all. I like hanging out with you guys. All right, how do I shut off my screen or my, yeah. All right, cool. Everybody good? You ready for that chair? I think, I'll tell you what is coming I'll give you a real actual idea of what's coming up. So this Sunday, let me get to the channel here. This Sunday, the video is, hold on. They're pre-scheduled, so I got to go look at them. I'm trying to be better about that, like not to be so lazy and wait till the day of to post stuff. I'm trying to get out ahead of it a little bit. So Sunday's video is going to be, I shot this live. I remember now. I shot this live when I was camping in Hoosier National Forest, but it's why overlanding is growing so much and why I think it's going to continue to grow. So it was one of those, it's kind of going back to the roots, right? A lot of them recently, a lot of my podcasts and that stuff have been interviews and things like that, which I enjoy too. But I haven't done a lot about like just like thinking about overlanding and talking about like kind of where it's going. I talk a little bit, actually, it's kind of interesting. You'll see it. I talk a little bit about the little sponsorship stuff. And this was before I had talked to any of these few companies that I talked to, right? So, but it was just like interesting thoughts about like why I think like small channels are kind of the way to go. Because there's all these big guys, right? But they don't care about their audience really. Like they buy followers and stuff and they just will let anybody sponsor them and stuff. So like there's some of that in there too. So it's kind of interesting. I think you guys will like it. And then Tuesday morning, I've got the Hoosier National Forest solo overland trip video coming up. That's about 23 minutes. So it's actually pretty legit, but I've got some drone footage in there, some like, vehicle driving into Hoosier National Forest, going through some muddy ruts, like finding the camp spot, getting everything set up. And then I literally walk you through like from the time that I park until everything's set up. So like I'm deploying the whole entire Xterra, rooftop tent, awning, table, all this stuff. So I'm excited about that one. And the beginning is really cool because it's just like shots of going into Hoosier National Forest. I'm kind of proud of that one. I think you guys will like that one on Tuesday. And then I think next Sunday I actually interviewed Chris Holloway from More Overland Expo last night. So I think that will be the following Sunday. Will be an interview of him just talking about the More Expo and what's going to go on this year. And I won't spoil it for you guys, but man, there is some crazy stuff that's going to be there. Like the main sponsor is Artemis Overland, which I'm sure you guys have all heard of. And that dude is killing the game. Like he has literally like 1/10 of the space and there's like 80,000 square feet. So it's going to be a show, man. I'm excited. So yeah, so hopefully that gives you a good idea. You guys saw the patches, right? We talked about that. I will wrap up now, but I will say I am dead serious. If any of you guys want to share like videos of your rigs and stuff, if you're interested at all in being a featured rig, shoot me an email, shoot me a DM. Just let me know because I would love to talk to you guys and kind of set that up and like just talk through like what that would look like. And again, especially if you guys do have your own channels, whatever they are, Instagram or wherever, just let me know because I'm happy to like feature you up and put links to all your stuff in there and all that stuff too, get you guys some exposure. So if you're interested in that stuff, just let me know. Cool? All right, guys. Well, this has been fun. We'll do it again next week. I'll try and come up a little bit earlier. I mean, I did do it. Hi, boys. Hi, guys. Justin is a friend of mine. He actually lives here in town, and his kids were in our Cub Scout troop. So tell your boys I said hi. So yeah, but next week we'll have another topic, and we'll do the same thing again. Cool. And I can tell you guys I can report on the beer by then too. Maybe I'll have the chair by then. I can show it to you. We'll see. So thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. Thanks to my sponsors. I appreciate you guys as well. And thanks to everybody that's new. If you're new and you made it all the way through this, thank you. Like, that's very impressive. You should definitely subscribe because you are a lifelong friend for sure. So thanks again, guys. We will talk to you next